Hi. I just had an amazing writing session, really productive, when I had no idea what I was going to write. And so I thought I would share my strategy with you for this week's video. If you've watched my other videos, then you know that I like to use techniques that circumvent my usual thinking so that I come up with something new instead of just going, through the same roads, thinking the same thoughts, and then getting the same roadblocks. So I'm working on a paper about the body in the classroom. And I've really only been at work on this paper for a week, but I have been feeling really stuck. And today just did not know what I was going to write, was feeling really, really unmotivated, bored, confused, and just found myself circling around in my head, like, what are reviewers going to think? Well, if I could say this, I could, and writing from a really defended place. So I decided to pull out my tarot cards. If you have a tarot deck, you can do the same, or you can search online for a free tarot reading, or use an app. I don't tend to go online myself because I have a bunch of decks, but I keep an app on my phone by a company called The Fool's Dog. And they have an app, a free tarot sampler, and you can easily use that to access a reading at any time. So I pulled out my Wild Unknown deck by the artist Kim Krantz, and I decided to do a simple 2-card spread. In tarot, we use 2-card spreads a lot because it's very useful to think about two things that are in opposition to each other, like a goal and then a blockage, or a challenge and a solution. So I chose to lay out one card to represent the goal of the paper, and a second card to represent what's blocking me, what challenge I'm facing in trying to achieve my goal. So if you're doing this for yourself, you'll want to take your deck, keep your question in mind, and shuffle it until you feel ready. But don't overthink it. You might not feel ready. You can decide, and pull 2 cards. If you're using an app or a website, then just keep your question in mind. There's sometimes like a shuffling mechanism in the app or whatever, until you feel ready, and then pull 2 cards. The first card that I pulled, the major goal of my paper, is the 9 of Wands. I thought about this for a little bit and decided I could interpret this in 2 ways. So the 9 of Wands from the Wild Unknown shows a staircase that is made of branches and that is very difficult to climb as a result. And yet we're near the top, almost at the top, and there's a crescent moon hanging almost within reach. And the moon in tarot often has to do with intuition, inspiration, that sort of thing. So I thought I could interpret this in 2 ways. First, it might mean that I'm close to understanding what my goal is with the paper, but I'm not there yet, and I need to keep working, need to keep climbing. A second interpretation could be that the struggle itself is the focus of the paper. Like possibly it's a paper that's really about the struggle to achieve equity in the classroom, the struggle of understanding how to act in any given situation when there are a lot of complex factors at play. Honestly, the first interpretation feels more right to me at this point. But I'm holding the second at the back of my mind, and who knows, maybe tomorrow or the next day something will slot into place. So I pulled a second card, the blockage that's making it difficult for me to achieve my goal, and this is the 3 of Swords. Now this card represents heartbreak, sorrow, loss. I interpret this card to mean that I am writing, and I said this earlier in the video, from a really defended place. I'm fearful about what reviewers and readers will say, and I'm trying to defend myself at every moment when I haven't even figured out what it is that I'm trying to say. So it's actually the second card that I found really inspiring. It just got me thinking, so what happens if I write this article more from a place of vulnerability? What if I'm open to making mistakes and kind of laying out an argument, and just being more real? And I was so inspired that I grabbed my notebook and started to write down more of just my personal narrative about this article. why I want to write it, what I want to say, and why I want other people to read it. I left that writing session feeling really ready to tackle that paper in a different way, to take a different approach to it when I start again tomorrow. And I decided not to start tonight, even though I was feeling excited, because of this old adage, and I read this first in Joan Bolker's book, Writing Your Dissertation in 15 Minutes a Day, about parking on the downhill slope. It's great to stop writing when you still have so much more to say, because then the next day it's just way easier to get started. So if you decide to try this strategy, I'd really love to hear about it. I feel like I'm sure there are lots of skeptics out there in terms of tarot, and that's fine. I really like the way we're bringing in new ideas, and I might have read these 2 cards and decided that they were completely inappropriate for my situation, but they would still be helping me to narrow in on what's actually going on here. So I find it actually, whether you find the cards really appropriate or not, I think that they can help you move to a place of greater clarity. So if you decide to use this, I would love to hear about it. I'm happy to talk tarot and help you decipher the cards' messages if you would like. Just let me know, and good luck.